بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم۔ بچوں کیسے ہیں آپ لوگ؟ میں امید کرتا ہوں آپ سب لوگ ٹھیک ہوں گے، خیریت سے ہوں گے اپنے اپنے گھروں میں، اینڈ آل آف یو ہیو اے ویری گڈ ٹائم ان یور ہومز۔ جیسے کہ آپ کو پتہ ہے ہم نے لاسٹ ویک سے یہ چیپٹر شروع کیا تھا ایکٹرز آف پبلک پالیسی، کہ وہ کون سے ایکٹرز ہیں جو پبلک پالیسی میں پبلک پالیسی کی ایگزیکیوشن میں، فارمولیشن اور امپلیمنٹیشن میں اپنا رول پلے کرتے ہیں۔ دے انفلوئنس ٹو آرٹیکولیٹ اینڈ موڈیفائی اور فارمولیٹ دی پبلک پالیسی۔ تو اس میں ہم نے سب سے پہلے جو ہے آفیشیل جو ایکٹرز تھے یا پالیسی میکرز تھے ان کا رول ڈسکس کیا تھا ڈیٹیل کے ساتھ، اور آج جو ہے سیکنڈ لیکچر میں ہم نے ان آفیشیل ایکٹرز جو تھے ان کو ڈسکس کرنا شروع کیا تھا، جس میں سب سے پہلے ہم نے انڈیویجول سٹیزنز جو تھے ان کا رول جو ہوتا ہے پالیسی فارمولیشن کے اندر، اور یا ہاؤ دے ایگزرٹ دیئر پریشر آن پالیسی making process in order to change the preferences and in order to articulate the public policy making process. How do they do it? تو آج کے ہم اس لیکچر میں جو ریمیننگ ان آفیشیل پالیسی میکرز ہیں we are going to discuss the role of those actors. تو اس ضمن میں آپ کو تھوڑا سا ریمائنڈ کرا دیتا ہوں کہ ان آفیشیل پالیسی میکر ہوتے کون سے۔ ان آفیشیل اور نان گورنمنٹل پالیسی میکر آر دوز ایکٹرز who participate in policy making but do not have the legal and constitutional powers to make binding, and they do not hold the authoritative powers in policy decisions. These unofficial participants, unofficial actors, unofficial determinants, unofficial elements, unofficial factors in the policy process includes, which I told you in my previous lecture, they are political parties, interest groups, and individual citizens. We have already discussed individual citizens. Now let's discuss the role of political parties and interest groups and their contribution to the policy process. So I'm sure in your previous lectures all of you have a better understanding about the role of policy makers, actors of policy making. Process. So let's start with the political parties. So let me tell you first, what are political parties? Political parties are those parties, group of people share the same ideology and gathered on one platform in order to participate in the political process of any country, in civilized countries and in uncivilized or underdeveloped countries, there are many political parties who have their specific agendas, who have their specific ideologies, who have their specific course of action through which they want to come to the power and serve the country. Among political parties, the preferences and the ideological differences are inevitable. So they play their role whether they are in power or whether they are in opposition, or whether even if they don't have any political representation in the parliament of any state, but they can play their role in the policy making process. For example, if there is a party, it's a minority party, and they belong to a specific minority, maybe Christian, or maybe Hindus, maybe Sikhs, if they have their own party, so what they do, they always try to protect their rights. And these rights could be political rights, religious rights, right of worship, right of business, right of living, social rights. So they raise their hand, they raise their questions, they raise their resentment, they raise their issues on a particular platform for the resolution of their and for the acceptance of their demands. So, under democratic settings, political parties play a very paramount role in the policy making. So how do they influence policy process? Political parties influence on the policy process which stems from their role in the political process. If they are in a political process, if they are a part of a political process, so that party have a profound influence on the policy process. They will be a part of that. Basically, political parties in any country, they are very much concerned with the pursuit and retention of government and its office. Or in other words, or in an easy way, you can say that, and you can assume that, and you can pronounce that a political party is a group which seeks to elect candidates to public office by supplying them with a label, a party identification, through which or by which they are known to the electorate. जैसे मैंने आपको शुरू में भी बताया कि पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज क्या होती हैं, और आपको अब ये वाज़ेह हो गया होगा इस डेफिनेशन से The political parties, how do they influence the public policy process, and how they become part of the formulation and execution of the public policy making process. As I have told you in the beginning of this lecture, the political parties have their own agendas and have their own economic and have their own political will. And how do they pursue their interests? And how do they articulate their interests? That's why political parties play a very important function of a thing which is called interest aggregation and interest articulation. And what is that interest aggregation and interest articulation? Interest aggregation and interest articulation means they convert the demands of interest groups into general policy alternatives, and they implement those interests, those policy alternatives on winning power. कि ये जो पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज होती हैं ये किस तरह से इंटरेस्ट को एग्रीगेट करती हैं और इंटरेस्ट को आर्टिकुलेट करती हैं, कि ये लोगों की डिमांड जो होती है या उनका या इंटरेस्ट ग्रुप के जो इंटरेस्ट होते हैं, आपको ये पूरी दुनिया में होता है। आप अपने मुल्क में भी सुनते होंगे कि हर हुकूमत के अंदर डिफरेंट लॉबीज होती हैं जिनका इन्फ्लुएंस होता है। अब मिसाल के तौर पर पाकिस्तान जो है एक एग्रीकल्चर कंट्री है, इसकी इकोनॉमी बेस्ड ऑन एग्रीकल्चर, बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली, or I would call it very the agriculturist lobby in the governments of Pakistan are as compared to industrialist lobbies. They are very much active. They get subsidies from the governments. Very recently, a report had been published by the government about the sugar crisis. Who benefited? Who got the money? Who got the commissions? Is detailed in that application, in that report. So, if you are in a political party and if you have an influence of any particular lobby, so definitely you will translate their interest, articulate their interest and demands into a public policy. They have a profound impact in the policy making related to their industry. So this is how political parties articulate their interest. I will give you a reading. Now this is the last lecture of these actors of policy process, I will give you a whole chapter about these actors, and in these readings the writer has given the examples of about the political parties and their influence on the public policy making. Please do read this chapter and go through this, and you will have a very clear understanding of this particular topic. Now let's move on to third actor who belongs to unofficial actors, interest groups. These interest groups are existing in every society, whether it is a developed country or whether it is an underdeveloped country like Pakistan. These interest groups influence public policy and the policy process in several ways, which we are going to discuss today here. And I have made these points that you will have a better understanding of them, how these interest groups exert their influence on policy process making. Interest group, their interest is always to express their opinion and make their influence and felt on governmental decisions without attempting to place their members in formal governmental positions. Interest groups, whether they are belongs to promotional category or whether they are associational members, they always perform the important function of interest articulation, which I have discussed earlier in the political parties. They express their demands and presenting alternatives for policy action. Moreover, they supply public officials with much information. That information could be of technical nature and the consequences of policy proposals. In doing so, they contribute to the rationality of policy making. I have given you a detailed lecture about the rationality and public policy making. They have a very important correlation, they have a very important relation, that the rationality and the policy making process. So, sometimes these interest groups provide technical information to the policy makers and tell them about the consequences of their policy proposals which they are considering vis-a-vis any particular issue and particular demand of the society. Sometimes, or even most of the time, these interest groups exert their pressure on the official policy makers, like the legislature, administrative agencies, the executive, and by this pressure, only one actor on which they cannot influence directly, that is the judiciary. Maybe they can bribe them and judge or in order to preserve their interest, but legally they cannot exert their pressure on the judiciary. While pressuring the policymaker, they pressurize the institutions to adopt policy alternatives which are most suitable for them, which have the capacity to favor or benefit their members. So what we have got? We have got they are very cohesive, they are very coercive and very influential in the executive and legislative domain. And we know that the policy matters are decided at the executive and legislature level. These interest groups are always motivated and interested in how public policy should be decided, how they should be initiated, how this policy should be formulated and implemented by the government. So, at the end of the day, what we have understood so far as a result of this discussion, that the interest group always seek or try to influence official policy makers to adopt and execute those policies or laws which are solely favorable to their own interests and of their members. Interest groups also suggest policy alternatives and solutions to the problems to government actors. And in many instances, they cooperate with the government, and the government means executive and legislature. Keep in mind, in order to design, formulate, implement and monitor policies. So, in order to influence and participate in the policy process, public policy, interest groups adopt various strategies and methods to influence the public policy. The number one, they pressurize the member of legislature to pass or not to pass certain laws or policies. Number two, pressurize the executive, that the cabinet members, head of the cabinet committees, or head of any parliamentary committee, in order to initiate certain legislatures or to refuse to sign some reports which come through to the legislature. These interest groups also pressurize on the political parties as well to incorporate certain programs into their manifesto. These interest groups rise the civil bureaucracy as well, regarding any laws which they have to sign or not to sign, which I have told you before. They also have an influence in media as well. Let's take the example of a big business tycoon of Pakistan, Malik Riaz. He had his influence on politicians, legislature, executive, judiciary, general public as well. Sometimes these interest groups provoke demonstrations, provoke rallies, sponsor these activities to state the position of the group. And lastly, if all the above mentioned tactics are failed, these groups, interest groups, the nature of interest groups could be any, right, religious, secular, economic, political, social, you name it. Or these interest groups related to the medicines as well. They do a shortage in the market, they do stocking, and they wait for the prices to be increased. Then they bring the stock into the market. Or for that reason, these interest groups sponsor strikes, riots, violence to make its case, in order to make its case. So, there is an example mentioned in the reading about in Nigeria. So I want you to read that example, and if questions come in your final paper, you are supposed to mention that example in the paper. So I have deeply and very exclusively defined the role of political parties and the interest groups in the public policy formulation and articulation. That how these factors, these actors, determinants, elements exert their pressure and influence the legislature, executive, administrative agencies and other institutions of the state in their favor of certain interest which they want them to fulfill. So bachcho, these interest groups do everything when their interest is at stake. Let's take the example in Pakistan. The government decided to decrease the prices of oil in Pakistan. What happened? As they decreased the money of per liter, the mafia in the Pakistan did a artificial shortage of oil all over the country, and the government surrendered that interest group, and ultimately they increased the oil prices. So these mafias, these interest group, whatever name you want to name them, that fits on their role. that fits on your face. Okay, they in every condition they want to preserve their interest, even at the cost of the living life of the people. Sometimes, if there is any religious issue, so they provoke riots, they provoke violence, they create artificial conflicts in the society in order to get their policies accepted. There is a long history in Pakistan of sectarianism and religious violence, and how the political parties, religious political parties, blackmail the liberals, in order to gain power. So you see that. In your last lecture, I have given you an example in America as well. What happened when a black man killed by a police officer? What happened? There were riots, violence spread across all the corners of the United States. Ultimately, the government solved the issue, and now maybe the situation in America is under control. So, but at the end of the day, these are the actors, unofficial and official, and they're very much connected with each other. They are not free from their influence. Both actors, everyone has their influence on each other. All of them have a profound and deep effect on the public policy making process. So I'm sure you have a better understanding about the actors of public policy, and if you have any questions, you are more than welcome to ask, and I am here to help you. And in the end, I'm really very sorry, because these two lectures are supposed to be posted in your previous week, but I am not feeling well. I'm much better. I have a very severe back pain, so that's why I was not been able to sit for a whole week. So I'm really sorry about the late submission of these two lectures. So fi amanallah, take care, and hopefully you guys will have your finals in this month. Date is not decided. I will let you know, and most probably that will be an open book test as well. And don't think that open book test will be easy. So that will be very technical. So कहते हैं नकल के लिए भी अकल चाहिए. So let's see who got the wisdom and rationality to solve my paper. So be prepared. Don't think sir will give you a question and you will just see in a reading and you no, not at all. So be prepared for that. Thank you very much. Jazakallah. Allah Hafiz. Fi aman Allah.